TLDR Learning presents The Conqueror's Mind, Alexander and the Psychology of Empire, the Fire of Inheritance. In 336 BC, the palace at Pella smells of iron and cedar. A 20-year-old king stands in the hall where his father once plotted the conquest of Persia. Philip II lies dead by an assassin's blade, and the son faces a kingdom holding its breath. Greece, fractious and proud, watches to see whether the boy will fracture with it. Outside, rain slides down marble columns. Inside, Alexander stares at the throne as if daring it to reject him. His tutor Aristotle taught him that destiny favors the prepared mind, but even genius trembles at coronation. He inherits not peace but potential energy. The Macedonian army, drilled, brutal, loyal, looks to him for command, not philosophy. He speaks once, clear and cold. There shall be no rival to Macedonia. Then he acts with the speed of instinct. Rebellious Thebes is erased, a single city turned into a warning carved in smoke. The Greek states, stunned into unity, realize that the age of arguing is over. When he calls for war against Persia, they do not debate. They march. In the War Council, maps unfurl like invitations. The Aegean gleams under torchlight, and the elders murmur of odds, distance, supply. Alexander listens, eyes bright, mind already moving faster than the room. He sees not lines, but possibilities, the psychology of empire. Conquest, he believes, begins in imagination. If men can be convinced that their limits are illusions, they will fight as if immortal. He will make them believe. At dawn, he rides to the sea. The Hellespont is a sheet of hammered silver beneath a blue sky. He throws a spear across the water, the same gesture his ancestor Achilles made to claim Troy, and the weapon lands in Asian sand. "Taken," he whispers. The army cheers, half believing they have witnessed a ritual, half sensing they have just crossed the border between history and myth. Behind them lies Europe, cautious and old. Ahead, a horizon that no mind has mapped. Each soldier carries a rumor of the divine, that their leader descends from Zeus, that his eyes hold twin fires, one mortal, one eternal. Alexander does not deny it. He understands the strategic value of awe. The myth builds morale faster than gold ever could. When doubt spreads, he rides through the ranks bareheaded so the men can see the scar on his cheek, proof that even gods bleed. He becomes the mirror in which they see their best selves armed. Night falls. The camp sleeps beneath foreign constellations. Alexander studies a scroll by firelight, tracing old Persian roots with a soldier's hand and a philosopher's hunger. He is thinking not only of battle, but of permanence, how to weld victory into meaning. To rule the world, he must first conquer perception. Empires rise from belief before they rise from stone, and belief is born in the mind's theater. He closes the map, extinguishes the lamp, and smiles into the dark as if hearing the applause of centuries not yet born. The mirror of command. The dust of Asia clings to sandals and armor alike. Alexander's army, 40,000 strong, moves like a single thought across the Anatolian plain. At the Granicus River, Persian cavalry waits. Shimmering armor, banners of gold, the hum of confidence. His generals advise caution. He answers with movement. He spurs Bucephalus into the current, crest catching the low sun, and leads the charge himself. Arrows stitch the river. One cuts his helmet, another grazes his cheek. Blood trickles down to his jawline, proof that leadership bleeds forward. The companions crash behind him, the phalanx closes ranks, and the Persian front buckles. By dusk, the enemy breaks. It is his first great victory, and it feeds a new hunger, certainty. Alexander begins to test not just armies, but loyalty. He divides spoils with public generosity, then watches eyes for envy. He rewards risk, punishes hesitation, and speaks of destiny as if it were a debt his men owe him. The myth grows teeth. Yet in private, he writes to his mother that every triumph feels smaller than the dream behind it. He is learning that ambition has no natural ceiling, that it expands by the same rule as the empire, always outward. On the road to Gordium, he stops before an ancient wagon bound by a knot of bark so tight that legend called it unbreakable. He who loosens it, priests whisper, will rule Asia. He studies the chords, then smiles and draws his sword. One stroke, the knot falls in pieces. Some gasp at sacrilege, others at genius. Alexander simply says, "It is undone." The story spreads faster than his army marches. To the superstitious, he is chosen. To the pragmatic, decisive. To both, inevitable. His army crosses mountain passes choked with mist. Supply trains lag. Roads vanish beneath rain. At every hardship, he rides at the front, visible, relentless. When a soldier faints from thirst, Alexander pours out his own ration of water onto the sand so all can see equality made literal. Discipline is not enforced. It is hypnotized. The men follow because his belief burns hotter than their doubt. In the evenings, he debates philosophers and engineers about fate, stars, and siege engines. They see a commander dreaming in blueprints and parables. He sees them as bricks for his invisible palace, a kingdom of the mind that will outlast flesh. When asked what drives him, he replies, "The edge of the world, and the fear it might end before I reach it." At Issus, he meets Darius III face to face across a narrow plain framed by sea and mountain. The Persian army outnumbers his 2-1, but numbers are a comfort only to those who need reassurance. Alexander aims not at the army but the idea, the heart at its center. His wedge pierces straight toward the royal chariot. Darius flees. The myth devours another empire, the empire within. In 330 BC, Babylon burns behind him, and Alexander rides east into myth. The empire he now commands stretches from the Nile to the Hindu Kush, but he feels no closer to completion. Victory, once sweet, has become a language he speaks without translation. Cities fall too easily. Their surrender denies him struggle. He begins to seek not land but proof, evidence that his vision can outlast mortality. The further he rides, the more he becomes a question no one can answer. At Persepolis, the palace of the Achaemenids blazes like dawn. Drunken soldiers cheer as columns crack in the heat. Historians will argue whether he ordered the fire or merely failed to stop it. Alexander watches the flames climb higher and says, "We have given Asia its funeral." Yet when the embers die, his face hardens with regret. Destruction, he realizes, wins no loyalty. The next morning, he forbids looting and orders temples rebuilt. Empire to endure must seduce what it cannot subdue. He adopts Persian dress, learns their rituals, and commands his officers to bow in the Eastern style. Macedonians grumble, some refuse. "I am not a god," he tells them softly, "but I am becoming something they can follow." The words frighten even him. He begins to dream of uniting East and West, not by conquest, but by fusion. One civilization under thought, not blood. Philosophers would later call it syncretism. His soldiers call it madness. In India, the rains come heavy as guilt. The Hydaspes River swells dark and cold. Across it waits King Porus with war elephants armored in bronze. The battle that follows is thunder made flesh. Men vanish beneath hooves. The phalanx bends but does not break. Alexander rides through chaos, directing, adapting, commanding with the rhythm of instinct. When Porus is finally captured, Alexander asks how he should be treated. Like a king, Porus replies. Alexander smiles, drenched and shaking. So be it. Yet victory has turned hollow. His men, weary and far from home, refuse to march farther east. They have seen the edge of the map and suspect it leads to nowhere. Alexander pleads, rages, bargains, but the silence of his army is absolute. He turns back toward Babylon, his heart beating to a tempo slower than destiny. Fever finds him there at 32. His generals lean close. To whom do you leave the empire? He exhales the words that will fracture the world. To the strongest. When the heartbeat that had paced continents stops, the echo travels farther than his armies ever did. Cities will bear his name, scholars his shadow, dreamers his infection. Alexander proved that conquest begins in the mind and ends there too. What he built was never geography but momentum, the belief that human will can bend the horizon. The map outlasted the man because the idea never died. Thank you for watching TLDR Learning. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. There is real research and a team of people working together to bring you these videos. We hope you enjoy them as much as we did making them. Check our channel for more content like this. See you in the next one.